So before I do my normal spiel, I just wanted to say originally we were going to have my co-host Matt from Geek Addicts on this episode. Unfortunately, he had some family issues that came up right before the recording today, so he had to drop out. I'm sure me and him will talk about this on Geek Addicts at some point in the down the future, but for now we're going to just carry on with the crew that we had planned initially. So for this episode, Nave's joining us again to talk some anime. How's it going, Nave?
Howdy. You can see my dog in the background.
I did.
Like, just on an adventure.
That's always
Look at
fun.
him
She
go.
lives a simple life.
Aw.
So people will remember Nave was on the show actually quite recently. We'd had our wonderful Uncharted discussion while Alex was away.
Yes.
It was very good.
Yeah, things got kind of crazy there, but it wouldn't be
Not
a
my
Gene's.
fault.
Honestly,
I got really confused for a second because I was like, I don't remember talking about that. And then you're like, Alex was away. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's why. I don't remember.
yeah, Alex missed that one. The funniest part was Nave was not the one to set Liv off, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, me and Liv have like a truce. Like, we understand each other. We know we were not push. But other Bill did not know that. We should have briefed him.
Yeah.
I did not know it was coming.
The second he dissed The Last of Us, I was like, oh no. He doesn't know what he's just unleashed.
No.
Oh, he was a good sport about it though. But anyways, how you guys been?
My car recently got broken into.
Oh, I saw that on Facebook. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It gave me like an anime villain arc for a second, but I decided to just get back into my lane. Luckily, I had like a concert, and then I went and saw Spy Family right after, so it's like that kind of evened out the scale.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but everything was like okay as it can be, I guess. Like, was anything bad taken?
There wasn't anything in there, so I was surprised that they even broke in the first place. But as far as I'm aware, they didn't pee in it or anything, so I'm pretty thankful for that.
That's always a good sign.
And this is a PSA. Don't leave anything valuable in your car. But even then, they'll still break into them, so just be careful.
That's actually like
the announcement.
That's actually the one upside to having like a sports car is like they're actually like the least broken into just because it's too obvious.
Also, I'd imagine like a flamethrower would come out of the door or something like that and just destroy me. Probably wouldn't touch anything that looked like it had a lot of money in it.
Yeah. Yeah, this week's been like really long and it's only Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's been the opposite for me. Like I've been into work and then I've sat down at my desk and I look at the clock and I'm like, it's time to go home. What happened? So
that must be nice.
No, it's not, because I feel like I'm still not getting enough stuff done. But I'm doing a lot.
Yeah,
Priorities.
It's tough. I'm a mailman, so it's the same thing every day. So every time I get into my mail truck, I just kind of close my eyes, I leave my body, and then my body just kind of does its own thing.
Do you ever run into like angry people when you're like delivering the mail, or?
I thought you were gonna ask if I ran into like things.
No.
I mean, you could answer that too.
I've hit a few mailboxes with my mirrors, but there's some people who are really passionate about getting their mail on time, and I just never knew that was a demographic of people.
Huh.
Those people don't really overlap with the people I hang out with.
I mean, I have a vendetta against Amazon drivers, but like Amazon drivers kind of ask for it a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Also, just working for Amazon though just sucks.
True.
I hear.
Yeah. So
we kind of work for Amazon because half of our packages are from them. So
wow.
True. Very true. But yeah, other than that, nothing too crazy. I'm still trying to catch up on everything because I don't have time to play video games anymore, which sucks. Let alone watch anime or read or do anything fun.
Yeah, normally I have a pretty bad attention span, so like sitting down and watching something, I usually start to feel like I'm vibrating out of existence by the end of the 20 minutes. But I've really just watched a little bit of Frieren. I haven't gotten all the way through it. I started when it first started, like maybe 3 episodes in. I started on episode 1, and now it's done, and I'm like halfway through. That's how long it takes me to watch things. That's like the ratio.
No,
And I
feel
love
like
that show.
I feel like it's so hard. Like, I don't know, because recently, like, I've been catching up on One Piece, and I was like, oh, I'm only like 5 episodes behind. And then I found out, oh no, I was like 30 episodes behind, which is like a lot. Like, that's like a full season or double season of some shows. So I was like, I'm really behind. And then I was like, oh no, I got all these other things I gotta watch too. And I was like, oh no, I'm already, yeah. So I don't have any time. Doggo, sorry.
She's going somewhere.
On an adventure.
I see your tail.
Yeah. No, that's how I feel with like trying to catch up on animes. It's like I find one I really want to watch, and then I see how long it is. I'm just like, I don't want to watch it if it's going to be a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've gotten really lucky with the shows that I get attached to, being like things that are only 1 season deep so far.
Yeah.
Just watch One Piece. Just do it. Just 1 episode, I promise.
I
goes by real quick.
I just got done with Red Dead Redemption 2, and that was like a 78-hour escapade, and I felt like I was crawling through the desert in the last like 5 or 6 hours. Like I was loving it, but it was like, oh, this is so long. And now I'm playing the first one, which makes it just feels like a DLC expansion to that. Like, oh man.
I know that feeling. When you get that one game where you're like, I love this game, but it's too fucking long. You just want it to end.
What do you mean? Just play games that never end. Like Stardew Valley. It never ends. You can keep going forever.
Well, I mean, I play RuneScape. That never ends.
Yes.
It seems like it looks like there might be an end, but no.
Nope.
I still think the saddest thing ever was when I got my Steam rewind last year, and it was like, you played RuneScape. That's it. And I was just like,
it's not as sad as mine. That's just said 106 hours of Cookie Clicker. And I'm just like, oh, yep, that was me.
The year before I had RuneScape, and then like I guess I went on like a fucking Freddy Fish binge at one point because I had all the Freddy Fish games. I was like, what a life.
Oh, I love Freddy Fish.
Yeah, those games are great.
I can speed run them because they're like so like you just
They're
want
for
you to know.
toddlers. They're for children.
No. They were the slightly above. I think Putt Putt was the lowest.
I don't know, Bill. I think all of them were for kids.
Where were Pajama Sam games at?
They were slightly more because like you actually had to use your brain at points in that one.
About Spy Fox.
Those were the legitimate challenging ones.
Yeah.
I actually tried to play one of those, and I was like, "This is too hard. I don't want to."
I'm going back to Putt Putt.
I actually have to think.
No, I can't just click on things. No, thank you.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Bill?
I'm actually drinking a Monster Beast Unleashed, which is just Monster but alcoholic.
Oh, interesting. And what are you drinking, Nave?
The less cooler older brother to that. Literally
Bill?
just normal Monster.
Bill?
What are you drinking, Alex? Even though you're not going to show us because you don't want to show your face.
She's holding it up to the camera right now.
I am actually. It's just a reaction. I am drinking a great value purified drinking water with flavor enhancing minerals. Ooh. Ingredients are purified
It's bad enough
water,
you do this to me. You're going to really put a
calcium
guess through your nonsense.
sodium bicarbonate. I haven't done it in a while. Leave me alone. It was distributed by Walmart, since it's made by Walmart, and it's purified by reverse osmosis. That's magical right there. And you can recycle it. Again, there's no calories. I need to know it's 0 calories. They need to tell me.
I'm not even 100% sure what a calorie is.
Yeah.
It's a unit of measure.
But you know what really makes this the
Measure
worst
something.
is it's not Kirkland's signature. And for that, I give it a 0 out of 10 for being Walmart water. Not Kirkland.
Walmart water sounds like something I don't want to know what it is.
Sounds like it'll immediately give you lead poisoning, like right away.
Oh, that's why the color's so weird, isn't it? No. I was wondering why it was kind of green. No.
That's a Mountain Dew, Alex. I think
Oh,
you just
yeah.
screwed up your drinks.
Oh. No, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, let's move on.
Anyways.
So for this episode, we actually do have a topic. It's not just Alex nonsense the entire time.
Hey.
We're actually going to be talking about the recently released Spy Family movie, Spy Family Code White. And because Nave is the guest, I'd actually like to ask. So you recently got into Spy Family, right?
I actually got into it about halfway through season 1.
Okay, so
and then I started watching as it. It's probably the only anime I've ever watched like as it released, besides Bocchi the Rock, and I guess Frieren to an extent.
okay. I'm about the same. I think I watched it from day one and then took a break because me and Alex were moving at the time, and then I kind of like binged the rest of season 1. And then season 2, I was like pretty much like every episode when it came out. I know Alex watched it pretty much because we did an anime swap on it a while back.
And I wasn't completely sold in season 1, but season 2 got me. Season 2 got me as a fan. Especially that last episode with Bond and Lloyd. Really got me. That one was my favorite episode.
I don't know. I still love You're covered in cats just spinning around.
That too. And just the first episode.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yours
I can't sit down. My butt hurts. Just standing in the canoe the whole time. This show's special.
Yeah, I really love it because like they're both hiding stuff from each other, so they fail to notice how obviously like suspicious they both are.
Well, Yor is just very oblivious to things that aren't like important to her at the moment. And Lloyd is the funnier one though, because he's like this master like spy, but he can't tell that Yor is a fucking assassin.
He 5D chesses himself, where he's like thinking about all the ways that it could be. Like it's so funny to me.
And then you got Anya, who's the mind reader, who knows both of the things, and she just says, "Fuck it, I'll go with it."
We ball.
Like season 1 Anya still has some of my favorite quotes. Like my favorite is like this is Papa. He's a spy who does all sorts of cool things. And this is Mama. She's very strong, but she's bad at most things. And then it just cuts to you're going, huh?
The thing that got me into the show actually was seeing a clip where it's the first episode where they're walking and Anya runs in front of Lloyd and she's like, "I want a pistol with a silencer," and then he's like, "We'll see if we'll find one on sale." And then I was like, "What is that show? I want to." Yeah. And people were like, "Oh, it literally just started. Go watch it."
Yeah, I love the dynamic between the 3 characters because they're all just like super interesting, and then the supporting cast is also all equally like
Becky.
They're all great. So this movie is interesting. So one thing about Spy Family is because the anime is pretty much going concurrently with the manga. This is one of those shows that unfortunately has pretty much caught up to its manga. So it's kind of in this weird like struggle where it's like they can't really do more anime until more manga comes out, which is why season 2 was only 12 episodes as opposed to like the full 26 season 1 had. And because of that, they had to make this movie as kind of a holdover for us fans just to keep us interested. So this movie, like most anime films, is it's non-standard. So it's like it could be considered canon, but it's like not part of the manga at all. So it kind of stands on its own.
Did the manga creator have anything to do with it?
I believe he wrote it actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's fully his vision. So that's why that's why I say it's kind of canon, because realistically there's nothing in it that makes it not canon, but it's also one of those movies that like it ties up all of its loose ends right at the end and basically just makes it so it's like, yeah, this didn't have to happen, but we're still gonna acknowledge it anyways. Because the movie very much kind of ties itself off at the end and perfectly kind of like ends itself where it's like basically if you don't watch the movie, you're not going to get lost, or if you're a manga only fan. But if you watch the whole thing through, it's still going to be an enjoyable experience.
So they did the opposite of what Nomura did with Kingdom Hearts, where he like
Yes.
split everything up in like 20, like a cell phone game and
Yeah,
a
where
web browser game.
or you need to own 12 consoles just to get the full story. That's still not going to make any sense because it's Kingdom Hearts.
I promise he was getting paid by like AT&T and Xbox. He was getting paid by everyone.
Imagine all the poor fools that went from Kingdom Hearts 1 to 2 and were so confused.
Me?
Yeah.
Young me.
What, you didn't play Chain of Memories to get all of this storyline that like is actually very important to the plot? Sorry. Yeah. So Spy Family Code White is a fun film. I'll ask, like, Nave, what was your thoughts when you saw the trailer for it?
I saw about a third of a second and went, I've seen what I need to see, and I went and paid for a ticket right away. I got
Nice.
all the information I need.
What about you, Alex? I never asked actually what your thoughts of the trailer were.
Well, I mean, like I was obviously hooked because I was hooked by season 2, but I actually felt like the trailer did a good job of not spoiling like a lot of the stuff that happened in the movie. Like, because it didn't really give you that much of like an understanding of what the plot would be, which I kind of appreciate because I don't like going into movies and already knowing what's going to happen. So I like the trailers.
Because
But I was
the key trailer shots were the scene of Anya with the gun, which was just funny, and then the scene of your like over like Lloyd while they're on the ground, which in context you find out is completely a comedy scene, but in the trailer made it seem like it was this bigger thing to the entire plot. Yeah, so it was very good at kind of like just hiding the actual plot, but also making it seem it got you intrigued, I think is the best way of describing it. Now, I know you prefer subs, Nave. Did you see the movie subbed or dubbed?
I saw it subbed, yeah.
Okay. We saw it dubbed, so it'll be interesting to get the different perspectives.
Yeah, and the only time it was playing was at 9.
Yeah.
And I go to bed at 10 because I am an old lady in the body of a 28. How old are you, Bill?
You're 28, Alex.
28-year-old, yes. I don't know. I lost track after 21. I feel like it just all goes downhill from there.
That's the last milestone.
Yeah, and then after that, nothing matters.
Yeah, once you can buy alcohol, it's like, yeah, I don't care anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, so we saw this on the Saturday it came out, and I remember because it was the following weekend after it came out, and the only showing I could get was for dub was 9:30 at night, so we had to go out super late, but it was worth it because this movie honestly was amazing.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It was really good.
A lot of time, like it passed the phone test for me, where to me, like I have this like test when it comes to media where if you're watching a film or like a show and you immediately grab your phone and start looking at it, that usually is a good sign that you're not interested in what's going on. And especially in a theater, because I see this a lot where people will just be on their phone the entire time at a movie, and I'm just like, what was the point?
Yeah, why did you pay? Like you could just sit on your couch and also not watch a movie for free.
So there was never a point in this movie where I was like, I'm bored, I want to look at something else. Like I was glued the entire time because the plot is pretty simple, but like really engaging. Basically, to best describe it, it's essentially there is because Spy Family is
wait. Spoiler warning.
Oh yeah, we should probably drop this.
Spoiler warning.
If you haven't seen the film,
seeing the plot.
Spoiler warning here. If you haven't watched the film, stop listening now, watch the movie, and then come back and finish.
Or I'll occasionally drop fake spoilers, so now I can't trust anything that's being said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So So going forward, we're gonna spoil the hell out of
the zombies were a great part, right? We love the zombies.
I mean,
zombie apocalypse.
Anya almost turned into one at one point, so let's be real here. So basically, the plot of this movie is it revolves around. So, Spy Family in general is very debatable where it takes place. It's supposedly like Europe during like the Cold War era, I want to say, supposedly.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. Like
'Cause
some unnamed European country.
I think it's supposed to be Germany, but like close enough. Because I was actually in a debate on Reddit about this because people were trying to figure out the nationality of the characters, and people were like, "What nationality is your?" Because she is like the most overtly Japanese looking
Yeah,
character,
she's very Japanese.
but
Mhm.
by context, she shouldn't be. So a lot of people were kind of like, I think she might be like sort of like Eastern European Russian, and it was like I was sitting there going like, I guess maybe.
Yeah, because I mean, I think whenever it doesn't she have like clothes she wears in the cold that are like that's like furry, or am I just making that
Yeah,
up?
Mm.
she does. But like also the fashion in like Spy Family confuses me because there'll be points where this is supposed to be set in like the 80s, 70s, I think 80s. And then like you see Yor in like modern like short shorts every now and then, and it's like yeah, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so the plot is essentially the whole war between the two sides is about to spark because there is like a basically there's incognito spies going back and forth, and essentially they're going to take Twilight off of the case because he has bigger things to take care of. But at the same time, he's like, I don't want to get off of Operation Strix. This is like my family, and I secretly like them, even though I won't admit it. And so like essentially he uses the excuse of I'm going to take time off because Anya's got a cooking class coming up, and he needs to make a special meal that will help her get her Stella Star because she needs the 5 Stella Stars. Which one thing I will admit is this film does a great job of like introducing you to like the characters and the plot. If you've never seen like the anime,
Mhm.
Yeah, everything just kind of slowly gets rolled out over the course of like 15 minutes. Like
like
right at
that
the beginning.
that opening scene of Lloyd like uh seducing the the lady at the start who I assume was like married to like that high ranking official,
Oh yeah, and then
and then
he
he
becomes
steals her
her.
identity.
Yeah, which is crazy. I don't think you've ever seen Lloyd steal a female's identity before.
Yeah, I think
So
that
I
was
was
the first
yeah
time.
the first time I think, which
because I was surprised to hearing him speak perfectly like a woman. So I'm assuming that he has some kind of like device now. I just thought that he was really good at parroting people since he's just a mind freak. He's like good at everything else. I assumed he could make his voice crazy too. But like I wonder if he does have like a little device.
I just wonder how he gets those full on like rubber suits like done in like that quick.
And the whole face prosthetics and everything, like yeah, the math.
Yeah, it was funny. And then
He
like
also was experimented on. That's his ability. No.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's also a fan theory. Well, I'm pretty sure the manga is leading up to Lloyd's backstory because we've only seen like glimpses of it where he was clearly went through a traumatic experience, but we don't know enough yet at this point.
Yeah. Everybody else has had some exploration of it, and Lloyd is just I was sad, a kid
As a
crying in
child.
rubble. And now I
Yeah,
never want any other kid to be like that again. It's like, okay, Lloyd.
yeah. I'm sure we'll get more of that at some point. But yeah, so they used the whole trip to what was the name of the town they visited? It's escaping me at the moment.
Every name of everything escapes me. I only
Yeah.
know Lloyd and yours name because you guys said it earlier.
That's fair. Um, let me do some research because I should have done this before we started.
Yeah, I mean, hey, life is hard, you know?
It happens.
Life
It's like Russia. It looks like.
Oh, I might have found it. I might
Oh yeah, they go
Regis!
to Fregus,
Regis.
Regis or whatever. Oh yeah, we also forgot to mention the cheating subplot at
Oh
the
yeah.
start.
Where
Where
throughout the whole the movie.
yeah, Yor is I love Yor as a character because she is utterly adorable at all times. And I like the fact that like when Lloyd's doing his random spy shit, she just happens to be on the fucking roof nearby and just sees everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then her her bitchy coworkers are like putting all these awful thoughts in her head, and she's like getting super freaked out.
But also, it happens like 3 miles away, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "What are you looking at?" Like squinting, like what's over there? And it's like a tiny little speck on the screen, and I'm in the IMAX, and I can barely see what she's looking at from as
Yeah.
far away she is.
It is also a really convenient placement because all he did was grab her Nightfall's hat, which was blowing off, and then pull it back down on her head. But from the angle, it looked like they were making out, and then yours like, is he cheating on me? Even though we're not actually really married, and it's all an act. This movie, because it was because it is a non-standard filler movie, they really played up the Yor and Lloyd moments, which was kind of cute. I like their dynamic, and I like the way it's expanded upon.
Yeah, and even with it being a movie like it is, it can be kind of like still within that circle of the show, like within the canon a little bit, because they were kind of starting to get that way towards the middle and end of season 2.
Yeah, like you can tell his Lloyd's like outer like shell is starting to crack a bit, and he's having a very hard time hiding the fact that he does legitimately like both of them. But yeah, so they're going through the whole the town thing, and their whole goal is they're going to this one particular restaurant which makes the dessert that Anya has to make for the school headmaster, the Mary Mary, that's what it was called.
Yes.
And well, actually, we forgot to talk about the train sequence because there's actually important stuff happens there as well.
Yes.
Where
Anya eats chocolate.
Yeah,
That wasn't hers.
Yeah, Anya steals some chocolate, and then we
well,
find out
she actually doesn't really steal it. It just falls. It kind of just flies in the air at one point, and she eats it.
We also had the great scene of the two henchmen who are like those two guys of this movie. They're trying to like attack her on the train, and then Yor walks in, and Yor's like, "Anya, sweetie, please close your eyes for a minute." And then she just proceeds to beat the shit out of these two guys.
I love when she opens the door, she rips the handle off because she hears Anya. Yeah.
Yor's freakish like strength is like one of my favorite like character ticks because there's no explanation for it. She's just absurdly strong for no reason.
She has also been experimented upon.
Well, I think this happens later in the movie, but the fact that she survived a plane crash in the cargo hold and just was walking on the roof of a flying plane like nothing is happening.
And she was only mildly annoyed, like inconvenienced. Like she wasn't even like hurt. She just was like,
she was like, "What the hell is this?" Like,
she was in the cargo hold of that plane and just no seatbelt.
Nope.
Well, the best part is she gets knocked around once, and she's like, "Lloyd, what are you doing?" And then she pops out, and she's like, "Hell, where are we?" She's like, "Lloyd, are you okay?" I'm gonna run on top of this plane now. Why are they shooting at me?
In the middle of an active war zone. Yeah.
And then the military officer's like, "Sir, there's a woman on the plane," and he's like, "Stop joking around." And he's like, "No, this lady."
And then she just destroys like the gun turrets by being herself. And
I got ahead.
Well, and she legitimately starts the entire fire that basically is the end of the airship at the end.
Whoops.
But yeah, so they go through they go to once they get to the town, they go to this restaurant that makes this special Mary Mary. And there's a whole like montage of them like getting this whole like deep backstory behind like the owner of the restaurant, which seems like it's going to be very important, and then you never fucking hear about it again in the movie. And as they're about to have the dessert, this general shows up, and he's just has like that massive like dickhead energy going on.
Well, and like the restaurant was only for like only families could go. So like the fact that he like was coming in and he was like being like, "I don't fucking care. Give me your seat and give me your food. I'm mean."
It's like, "Oh, I also want this dessert." And they're like, "Oh, we don't have any more." They're like, "I'm just gonna steal theirs." And then Lloyd's like, No. Let's play a game." And then of course the guy does some weird technicality bullshit and still gets away with it.
Mm-mm.
And this is the first time I think we've ever seen Lloyd take an L.
Yeah, honestly. Although it does come back, it does come back around later on, to a degree. But there's also the great scene of Anya trying to cut the chicken, the peanut.
Yeah,
chicken.
the whole time she's just trying really hard to get this chicken cut.
Oh yeah, and then when the chef comes over and the chef is like, "So, what do you guys think of the food?" and Anya's like, "Well, I got something to say about the food." Like she's gonna be a little shit.
Is that what she said in English? Because in Japanese, she was like, "Bring me the chef," and he's like, "I am the chef, little lady."
Yeah, in the dub, she's like, "Yeah, I have something to say, sir." And then Lloyd comes in and he completely diffuses that instantly.
Lloyd was like, "No, not today."
But then because they need that Mary Mary, and that was the last one, and they find out the shipment for the new ingredients isn't going to be in until like way after they're already gone, they elect to go on a wild goose chase to find all the ingredients for the guys so they can get their Mary Mary,
It's for
which I
the
don't.
mission.
Which is funny because I don't think they ever actually get it.
No, they do.
Do
Well,
they?
they don't show it in the film. But
Oh, right. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
something else happens, which ruins
Yeah.
it later on. But there's this great scene where they go to the market and like all three of them are there and they're like, "Okay, let's go. Let's all look around together and we can find." And then not yours. Lloyd's just like, "Nah, I got this." And he just goes from booth to booth at the speed of light, and he's like just like finding everything. But there's like a handful of things he couldn't find, and he's going around. And at one point, he sees like a lipstick salesperson, and he decides to get yours some lipstick because she claimed she lost hers on the train.
Well,
No,
I think
it was like, wasn't her like she said her lips were dry or something, or it was something.
Oh
like
no,
that.
she needed an excuse to leave the train car because like
Yes.
Lloyd was getting flirty with her and she couldn't handle it, and she made an excuse saying that she was allergic to her lipstick. And
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
she had to
in
leave.
Japanese it was like the lipstick's too oily or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
So like he sees the lipstick and he's like, "Ah, this is your color, right?" And he's like, "You said your lipstick was bothering you." And then yours freaking out because one of the things her coworker said was giving random gifts is a sign of cheating.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she goes through like this mini depression where she has to go to the bathroom, and as she does that, Anya discovers a train and she's on the train.
I mean, that scene was so cute though, because don't you remember like being a kid and like there being like a mini train and you also wanting to go, I want to go on the mini train and
Gotta ride
I
the
want to
train.
spin in circles for hours, even though
And
we're
I
not
love-
going anywhere.
And I like how Lloyd channels the inner adult. He's like, she's just going around in circles on a train. I don't understand.
The joys of being a kid.
So then
I love how much Lloyd shuts Anya down all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
I just love Lloyd's perplexion of like everything. Like he doesn't get Anya, and he doesn't. There's points where he's so confused by Yor because Yor is a very complicated woman. So he's chilling at a bar, getting a. I think he's just getting like a drink or something, and then Yor shows up. It's like, Yor, are you okay? You've seemed down. And he's like, "Is there something you want to share?" And she just all of a sudden has.
He offers to buy her a coffee or something like that.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what
Which
it
is
was.
another gift, which sends her into an even deeper spiral.
Yeah, so she's like she just slams the money down on the table. And I'm gonna say, we saw this in IMAX. The fucking punch whenever she put the money on the table was fucking amazing. It was like just like boom the entire time. She like slams the money down, gets like a full-on glass of like wine, just downs it, and then it doesn't do anything. So she gets like 20 more.
Yeah.
And then she is shit-faced
Yes.
instantly. And it was great because like they're all of a sudden Yor's doing her dramatic like drunk like crying thing, and Lloyd has no idea what to do. And then Anya's watching on the train and she's like, "Is this mommy and Papa flirting?"
Oh yeah, I think she goes like it's flirty time or something, right?
Oh, yeah. Papa and Mama are having flirty time.
Something like that.
And then like Yor just completely falls on top of him. And that's where that trailer shot comes from. And then she just passes out because drunk.
Yeah, and then wakes up moments later, not drunk anymore.
Yeah.
Incredible.
You're a very special person.
Those are some
we'll
next level genetics. I wish I had that.
never understand. Oh yeah, there's also a subplot of Yuri is doing something because he needed to have a cameo in this, and he finds out there's like war going on in Fergus, and he's like, "But yours there. I need to go," and they're like, "You're not going," and they have to like restrain him because they know he will go there.
Yeah, that's the funny thing too, because like it's like the dog got an excuse to go, and then so the brother's there, and like you're like, oh no, the brother's gonna show. Oh, before this, the other agent got an excuse to go too. What's her name?
Well, she didn't really get the okay. She just fucking went.
She just
Yeah.
decided she was
Yeah.
going.
She was like,
well, I was like, so it's like the dog, then the other agent, and then the brother, and you're like, oh my god, the brother's gonna show up too, and they're like, no, he's not.
No, too much.
they're like, you are getting too weird for this movie. You are staying here for the rest of it.
This movie needs to be like normal audiences need to be able to watch this. Okay, you got to
Like,
stay home.
Not you.
It's like we don't need to expose the moviegoers to the fact that Yuri likes his sister a little too much. But speaking of Fiona showing up there, that actually leads to like one of my favorite moments in the film. And I'm actually curious how the sub handled this, because in the dub, Lloyd is looking for the cherry whiskey because it's the final thing he needs to find. And they cut to Fiona heading there, and she's like just screaming, "Twilight, Twilight, Twilight!" And then it cuts to Lloyd running, and he's going, "Liquor, liquor, liquor."
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. In this.
Okay, it was just like such a great.
It's a really funny transition. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's sent Anya in. Well, actually, we forgot about the Ferris wheel.
Yeah. I was gonna say you can't not bring up the Ferris wheel in the punch.
So, because Anya sees that Anya reads both of their minds, and she sees that there's a crisis about to happen because they're both like overthinking things again.
Because Anya's just like, divorce, no, the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, so did they talk about a bloodbath? Because in the Japanese, she's like, bloodbath, no.
Oh yeah, because they cut to a flashback of Becky explaining to Anya what divorce is, and she refers to divorce as it's a bloodbath, as a literal bloodbath. And then Anya goes, "No."
She thought they were gonna kill each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Yor was gonna kill Lloyd. Yeah.
But anyway, so they get to the she sees the Ferris wheel in the background, and she realizes she's like, that's the place where people go to flirt. she's like, I'm on the Ferris wheel. And she basically kicks them both onto the Ferris wheel, and then she's like, "Okay, you guys have fun." And they're like,
huh?
Lloyd's like, she wanted to go on the damn thing, and then she doesn't even ride it. And then basically he just gets Yor and Lloyd have their little heart to heart, and then they kind of like
Lloyd goes too much.
Well, basically, yeah, he to reassure her, he goes like way too much, and that Yor can't handle any sort of flirting, so she just fucking slaps him so hard across the face, which was great in IMAX, by the way.
Yeah.
And he falls out of the Ferris wheel and lands perfectly upright on his 2 feet next to Anya.
Yeah.
With this giant fucking boil. Like, he looked like the character from Fairly Odd Parents.
I was thinking like Ed, Ed and Eddie when they have a jawbreaker in their mouth.
Yeah, that too. And then Yor's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it." He's like, "Oh, it's perfectly fine." And then Anya's like, "Oh, are you guys done aggressively flirting?" And they're like, "No."
That's a really good scene, though.
Any scene with like Lloyd and Yor is always great, because I love like Yor like can't handle any sort of like extreme affection, and she just like over panics, and then like her immediate reaction to everything is just violence.
Not good. Not terrific.
Yeah. But
she doesn't know any better.
Yeah, that's just her standard approach to everything. But yeah, so then they cut back to the hotel room where Yor and Anya are playing spy with like Anya's toys, which is really cute. And then Lloyd sadly goes everywhere in the town and can't find the cherry whiskey or cherry liquor, whatever it was. And basically he says he found one place that has it, but he's got to go out at night to get it. And he asks Yor if he can just watch Anya. if she can watch Anya. And Anya's very upset because she wants to spend time with him because they went on a family vacation and they aren't spending time as a family.
This is painful because
Yeah.
Anya hugs Bond, and I'm just like, I can't watch this.
Yeah. And then Yor gives this really like heartfelt like thing. If it's like, what if we all go? Make it a family thing. And like she's like, it's okay. It'll be fine just once.
Mm.
And then
We forgot that he ends up calling what's his name before he gives up.
yeah, Frankie.
Yes.
Yeah, so he calls Frankie and he's like, hey, you need to bring me some of this right now, as soon as possible. And then he's just like reluctant. He's like actually successfully macking on a girl too. Like the girl's interested, and then he's ignoring the phone call. And then she's like, you maybe should answer that. And then he goes to answer it. And he's like, oh God, I was afraid it was you.
And then the girl leaves.
Yeah, and then she leaves. Oh my God. Poor Frankie.
Although he ended up being better off in the end anyways, because we find out about the that girl later on. We'll get to.
It's funny too, because that's after the brother. So it's like, okay, so he's coming. Like everyone's coming but the brother. Like,
yeah. Yep. Poor Frankie. But so they're having this whole heartfelt like speech while Anya's crying in her room, basically. And of course, right when they're really making progress, Fiona shows up as room service, and they're like, I didn't order room service. And then Lloyd's like, oh, of course, I must have accidentally done it, as he always does.
Yeah.
And
he needed a towel.
Exactly. They needed a towel. And they're having this whole heartfelt thing until Yor discovers Anya's missing. It's like, how did Anya get out?
Oh my God. And Anya's like, she gets a note and she's like, I'm gonna go search for the liquor. I'll be right back. I know where it is. And then Lloyd picks it up and he's like, I can't read any of this. It made me laugh like so hard in the theater.
In the dub, it's even better. In the dub, he just goes, this is illegible.
I don't even think he says this is. I think he just goes illegible. Like he's just like disgusted.
Yeah. But then we cut to like, because Anya had a vision where she actually found a place that had the cherry.
Well, no, I
liquor.
think it was Bond did. Like Bond saw it,
right,
and then like she read Bond's mind. Yeah.
Yes, and Bond had the vision, and then Anya read his mind because that's their fun dynamic, and they go off to go find the liquor, and of course, as she gets it, those two henchmen reappear because we found out that chocolate actually contained a very important microfilm that they needed to start war, so they need to get that back.
Before that, when she gets the liquor, there are two other soldiers there, and they look at this wanted poster, and it is a hideous picture of Anya. It is hideous, and then they see Anya, and they're like, "Nah, that's not her."
Like, they're like.
That can't be right.
In the dub, it's even better because in the dub, they're like, that wasn't her, was it? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And just, like they realize it's her, but they just don't want to be bothered. Like they're like, no, it can't be. But then, of course, eventually those two guys show up and kidnap her, and
they hurt Bond. They beat up Bond.
The way Bond gets hurt is so sad because they run over a damn can and the can like beans him in the head. And then he just is down and it's like, oh, poor guy. But then, of course, eventually...
but Bond also, before though, he bites one of the guy's sleeves.
Right.
And he ends up ripping the patch off.
And when Yor and Lloyd find him, they immediately find the patch. And that's how they get the realization that this is how they're going to find Anya.
Which is crazy because, like, he's just an unconscious dog in the middle of the street.
And nobody pays attention at all.
No.
So then we cut to the...
Lloyd decides that he can hijack any plane he sees.
Well, before we get to that, though, we see the villains are in their giant airship.
Yes.
And they're flying, and they have Anya by this point, and they're like, she ate the microfilm. And it's like, have you used the bathroom since then? And she's like, yeah. And then her stomach gargles, and she's like, he's like, all right, you two are gonna take her and wait for her to shit it out. And like, he straight up says shit in the dub, and it was great.
I think
well,
because Anya calls someone a shithead at the beginning of the movie. Does Anya ever say shit in English?
I don't think she did in the dub.
Because that got a huge laugh in the theater. It was like I think she called the second son. She's like he's such a shithead.
Oh yeah, she did say that. She did
And then
say that.
everyone laughed. Yeah, it's great. Potty mouth.
yes, they could
Yeah,
say
so-
it because it's the movie.
The general literally says multiple times throughout, like he says he's like at one point he says I wait for her to crap it out, then he says wait for her to shit it out, and then later on he's like, did she defecate yet? Which got a huge laugh out of the theater.
Yeah, I will say that the Anya shitting arc was not on my
Yeah.
predictions
Yeah.
for this movie, but it was wonderful.
The
whole
theater
arc was
straight up
hilarious.
died when
Yes.
that happened.
The scene.
The scene where she goes through the acid trip like dream.
Yeah.
The
She goes into a
movie.
Zen state.
I
And
thought-
just,
I thought we were gonna legit see her shit herself because like
That's
it
what
got
you're
it got
saying.
pretty bad. It got really bad there for a minute.
yeah, and she is a stressful situation. She's got higher constitution than I do.
Yeah.
I would have failed that role.
And then it just cuts to this like acid trip dream sequence with like toilets and stuff, and this like weird hybrid of Master Roshi and Mr. Elegant like at the start. Ugh.
Yes.
That whole sequence, literally the entire theater, nobody knew what to think, and everyone was just dying the whole time.
Yeah.
It was such
so
a left
good.
turn.
It's such a big lipped alligator moment. Like it's right in the middle of the movie, and it's like completely animation shift. And
Yeah.
it's just like
the
this whole
watercolors, like looking.
That's like something straight out of Bocchi the Rock. Like Bocchi the
Yeah.
Rock does that all the time.
it's
And
just like,
I love it.
it's just like a straight up acid trip metaphor for she's got to take a shit really bad.
Yeah. But she's holding it in. She's holding it in.
Well, it's
Um,
because she read the general's mind that he was just going to kill her as soon as she did take a
Yeah.
shit. So
Yep. But then we cut back to Lloyd and Yor, who Lloyd is like legit restoring this like plane that hasn't flown in years.
Mhm.
And Yor doesn't question this at all. Like she's like, oh yeah,
Nope.
Yeah.
you can just fly a
Yeah.
plane. That makes
I
sense.
Who doesn't?
I was so shocked when he jumped out and she was standing there, and I was just like, he got caught, I guess. And then he's just like, hey, I gotta go. The military has Anya. He just straight up was like, the military took Anya. I don't know why. I fixed that plane. I'm gonna go get him. And then
You're
she's just like,
just-
okay, bye bye. I'm like,
Yeah, she
I
just
think
straight up
didn't
goes.
Yor just try? Like she was like, "We can do this as a family," and he was like, "Nah, I gotta do this on my own." And then Yor's just like, "I'm going in the cargo hold."
Well, at first she goes okay. Well, because there was that plot point where like where she pulls open the cargo hatch door. She goes, "Oh, cargo door, that's fun," and then just shuts it. And then as he's flying off, she's like, "Wait."
Oh yeah,
I
she
need-
has to run and jump.
Yeah, she has to run after the
Yeah.
plane, which is very Yor like in many ways, and she just
Oh.
straight up jumps in.
I just remembered when Lloyd jumped out. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was like an aviation student for
Yeah,
a while. I like really like these planes." And she's just like, "Oh," and that made the theater laugh again because it's like that's so stupid. What?
But Yor is so gullible that she buys it. Like Yor is way too trusting at times. There's a scene later in the movie that we'll get to that perfectly highlights that dynamic. But so yeah, he gets in the plane and they're flying towards the airship, and he's like, we're running out of fuel. We need to make a crash landing. Can we land on your ship?" And they're just like, "Shoot him out of the sky."
yeah.
And then they just start this whole like dogfight with like heat-seeking missiles, and they really highlight how much of a like piece of shit the general is, because they're like, "Sir, these aren't even legal yet," and he's like, "Do it anyways. War will start soon enough."
Yeah, that guy was a bastard.
Yeah.
But this was like the scene where like Yor's getting like jostled around the cargo bin, and she's like, "Lloyd, what are you doing?"
Is that in Japanese? She was like, "Lloyd really needs to work on his piloting skills." And like, you don't hear the gunfire and the explosions, and you're upside down right now.
Yeah. And then he eventually does crash into the plane, and Yor just pops out, and she's like, "Huh, what happened?"
I'm here now.
What?
All right,
And
let's
she
get
sees
going.
she sees the empty cockpit. She's like, "Lloyd, are you okay?" he must be fine. And then she just starts running down the plane.
Yep.
Oh man. And then of course Anya eventually escapes because the other two
Well,
like
yeah, because at this point, like they went and talked to the boss, and the boss was basically like, "Yeah, cut her stomach open,"
just
and they
cut
were
her
like,
open.
"Ugh." Yeah, and then like she knew what they were gonna do, so she's like, "I'm out of here," and she was running.
Yeah. And
And
she
had a
finds
classic Scooby Doo chase scene.
A literal
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo
Yes.
chase scene, yeah.
meanwhile, like minutes before, she almost shit herself and she was like hallucinating from the pain. But I guess it's fine now. I mean, we've all had that
Well,
experience.
her life's
before,
on the
I guess.
line.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry, she got her sweet relief soon.
Yeah, she finds a bathroom, and then it cuts to like this like scene of glory when she sees a toilet, and she's like, "Hooray!"
Oh, the funniest thing is in Japanese, Anya was just legit just going, toilet! Toilet!
Yeah.
But it would be like restroom in the dubbing, but
Yeah.
it's clearly she's saying toilet.
Yeah, it was super funny. And of course, the second she walks out, they're just waiting for her, holding toilet paper, and they're like, "We got ya."
It's like, is that not the first place they should have looked? When she hid, that's the first place she hid, and it happened to be the bathroom. That would have been the first place you should have looked.
Well, it'd be inappropriate to open the door. She could.
Oh, you're right. You're
Well,
totally
and she
right.
locked it. She locked it.
True.
Yeah.
So
She just should have not come out.
So while this is happening, Lloyd is making his way through the ship, and he overhears. After they catch her, he overhears the two guys basically say like, "That girl was a handful. Shame they're gonna have to kill her," or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh, wasn't it
he
too?
says
They were
that
like,
he says that they mention that that she ate the chocolate or something. So like he kind of gets briefed. He's like, "Oh, they're looking for that." Okay. And then I think he grabs somebody.
Yeah, he kidnaps the one guy and like steals his identity, and then he goes to the bridge and like he goes to like he's basically trying to find where Anya is, and of course he like once he realizes that she's probably in there somewhere, he like conveniently loses a button. He's like, "Oh, I lost a button."
wait. But right before though, he runs into the two that were like the ones watching her because like they dropped her off to them, and then the bad guy told him it's like, okay, you're gonna go swim in the shitter to find
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Find
You're
it.
gonna go climb in the septic tank
Yeah.
until you find
Yeah.
a micro.
To go find it. So like Lloyd hears them bitching about it as he passes him by, and then he just beats the shit out of them.
Yep.
So they
Well,
got
He also notices that one of them's missing a patch.
yes.
Right, that's true.
And so that's kind of another insight into Lloyd actually caring about Anya because
Mhm.
he has no reason to beat the shit out of him. He just does it because he knows they're
because
the
he
one that
can.
kidnapped her. Yeah.
Then they hurt Bond, and Bond is his buddy.
Yes.
But I like also it's implied that those two died because we never do see them escape.
Yeah, they probably gone, yeah.
Deserved.
Another thing, the way that Lloyd figures out that Anya's in that area is that she, like, full strength slams her head into a pipe. Like,
Yeah.
she has no she just, just slams into it and makes a loud noise.
Once again, IMAX was amazing for that scene.
Yeah. It was
Oh
like,
my
it just
God.
whoa, 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 throughout the whole theater.
Oh, I felt like it was giving me a migraine. Like when she did that, I was like feeling the pain through the screen. I was like, ow.
Also, meanwhile, Yor is just kind of making her way through the ship at this point, and the whole time they're like, "It's just one woman. How can you not catch her?" And there's a great scene where she literally walks into a group and she's like, "Excuse me, have you seen my daughter and husband?" And they just like start shooting her, and she's like, "That wasn't very nice."
Nice.
As she beats
Yeah.
the shit out of them.
Well,
And then eventually-
I think you're gonna say what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say eventually they the general's like, "Use type F
Yeah.
to get her," and they're like, "Type F, that's not even legal yet. Like it's not tested." He's like, "I don't care, do it." And we find out Type F is like this like machine, like weapon man, basically.
Weapon man.
I will
Yeah.
say this was the only part of the movie where I was like, like I don't know. It just felt a little like they had to make something for Yor to do something during all this.
They needed an epic moment for Yor to do her assassin stuff without actually
Yeah.
being an assassin.
it just felt a little forced, like it was just like, oh my god, this evil guy, she has to kill him because he's bad. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been. I feel like they could have come up with something better, but I get it. They
It was a
needed
pretty.
Yor to fight.
They wanted to show off the awesome
Yeah.
animation because we haven't mentioned it yet, but this film looked amazing animation wise.
Oh yeah.
Like so much real awesome
yeah.
detail and like.
And I totally agree
effects.
with that. But in terms of the plot and the story, it was, in terms of animation, great. In terms of plot, not as much.
Yeah.
The resolution of that though was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that after, but because while she's fighting him, because it's implied that she's fighting him the entire time.
Yeah.
Doing
Yes.
this stuff.
It's
so
constantly jump cutting between all three parties.
Yes.
it was actually a fun little way they did it too. But so Lloyd is basically he's like, oh, I lost a button, I gotta go get it, and then as he walks in, the guy's like, he's like, you may have masked your appearance, but you didn't mask your smell, and I know exactly who you are, traitor. And they're like, kill him now, and they all start shooting at Lloyd. And then
the guy shoots him like right in the head almost. Like
Yeah.
part of his mask comes off and his hair starts sticking out. I was like, ooh. That's the closest Lloyd's ever come to death so far. Besides maybe unless you count the clock tower bomb.
Well, no. I was gonna say yours cooking, but
Oh yeah.
this is a Your Forger original. Cuts to both of them dead on the floor, and it's like, oh no. But yeah. So like a huge like gunfight just starts on the bridge, and actually we forgot a point earlier in the thing, but the Anya gun scene is Anya was trying to get one of those prizes from like one of the pop gun games.
Oh yeah.
And the guy was rigging it like most of those guys always do, and Lloyd sees right through it, so he does like this whole like ricochet thing and like knocks half of them off the wall, and he's like, you really shouldn't scam people, you should run an honest business from now on. But that comes back during this fight in the bridge where like he like is ricocheting bullets off the wall and hitting the freaking soldiers.
Yeah,
and
he's crazy. He's got that perk in Peggle where you're the unicorn.
Yeah.
And it lets you see where the ball's gonna go.
But eventually they have to resort to dirty tactics and they start using like poison gas bombs. And of course they all have masks, but Lloyd does not have one yet. And during this whole time, Anya's trying to escape, getting free from the rope with like some of the most deranged animation in the entire film, by the way. It's just Anya's face during this whole thing.
I think one of the biggest selling points for this anime is Anya's funny faces. And so they were like, we're going to have a million. We need a dedicated team just to make weird faces for Anya, especially when she needs to poop. Yeah. She's going to have the worst faces.
Oh, yes.
The most relatable faces too, because we've all been there at one point or another. But yeah, so she's trying to escape from the rope, and she eventually does. And as she does this, she like starts bashing her head against the electronic panels, which Anya like bashes her head in a lot in this movie. Now that I think about it,
she's got a hard head.
She does.
There's not a lot of thoughts going on in there, so
no,
too much skull.
But she by doing this, she accidentally triggers the windows opening. And that actually releases the gas conveniently, so Lloyd doesn't die.
Yeah.
And during the confusion, he steals the general's identity, and then they have the whole like they literally do the Spider-Man. It's not you, it's me, like pointing at each other.
Yeah, the meme pointing at each other. It's so fun. It's so cool because the whole time, I think that's another moment where it's the first time we've actually seen in real time him change identities. Because I think you could imagine that each time he does it, it just jump cuts. So like there's time where he's stealing the identity like in the closet with the last guy. Yeah. But then he literally does it in like a few seconds while they're fighting. And like before the guys decide to get up and look. So he's doing that instantly.
Yeah. And they end up defeating the guy and basically convincing them. He's like, all right, I've defeated the imposter. Now everyone evacuate the ship and get out of here.
I really like that scene too because like it's not like a different art style, but the aesthetic is different because they're fighting like they're both the same character, but then they just impose Lloyd over it, and then Lloyd's like blue and he's like another color I can't remember, probably red, and then they're fighting that way. It's really cool.
And then of course we then cut to the climax of Yor fighting Type F, and it's basically like a one-sided battle because like the man is straight up made of metal, and it's like, look, Yor's weapons aren't doing much, even though she has a fucking axe at one point and everything. But the way she defeats it is pretty epic. She like uses the lipstick and like draws like this like flower pattern around him, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, lipstick is mostly oil." And then she lights it on fire, and then just like, boom.
Yeah, see, that was set up in the Japanese version when she said that her lipstick was oily and that was bothering her. So it's weird if they took that out in the translation. I don't know.
I think it's because like in America,
I actually was reading like some comments on it, and I feel like a lot of people didn't like how she won the fight because of that, because the oil didn't make sense as much.
It was. I think it was brought up twice in the Japanese.
I think they only really brought it up at the end. So I think due to that translation error, it might have actually affected people's like perception of like how like they were like, how did this work in terms of the lipstick?
I didn't know that there was oil in lipsticks. And when I first saw it, I was like, is that a transmutation circle? Is she gonna Full Metal Alchemist him? What happened?
See, I didn't think anything of it. I just like, that was cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh, cool, nice.
also, I'm not gonna lie. The scene when she's fighting there, they fucking zoomed in on her ass so many fucking times, and I was like,
well, yes.
I was like,
Bill,
okay,
you watch
animators.
Dragon Ball Super.
I'm aware.
That's what they do with movies. They show the ass.
The power is stored in the glutes.
Yes. I was just like, there was so many points where like yours like bent over, like leaning back, and it just zooms in on her ass. I'm like, it's like, okay, animators, I get it.
I think that's funny because I don't remember noticing that much, but every time they talk, I have to glance down at the bottom of the screen real quick. So I wonder if like a lot of the ass shots were when I'm looking at the subtitles for a moment. Because when you're at IMAX, you have to like physically look down and then physically look back up. It's like the huge screen.
Yeah. But eventually, so that gets taken care of, and the fucking ship is exploding in peril at this point and going down really fast. And eventually, Lloyd finds Anya down below, and he's mad at her for like everything, but at the same time, he can't be that mad because it's like he's just happy to see her.
He's glad she's not cut open.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
as she didn't shit herself.
He had no idea about any of that. Yeah. He's probably never he doesn't need to know.
Yeah. But as they're climbing up to the bridge, Yor just fucking appears out of nowhere. And Lloyd's like, Yor? How are you here? And she's like, oh, we wanted to make this a family vacation, so I hopped in the plane. And he just buys it. He's like, okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
For someone with a photographic memory, he just forgets that he crash landed the plane into the blimp and it blew up, basically.
Yeah. He's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
And the funny thing is that he assumes that the fire was caused by him, but really it was Yor blowing everything up, fighting through everyone.
Above. So then we get literally my favorite moment in the film is the point where like Lloyd's like, this thing's going down. I got to turn it somehow. And he's like going through all the things, and Yor's like, Lloyd, you know how to fly one of these? Like, you know how to fly an airship? And he goes, oh yeah, I took a class in it when I was in college. And Yor's like, oh, that makes total sense. And it just cuts to a shot of Yor smiling, and Anya has the biggest look of disappointment on her face.
Like, you liar.
She's got this look like, really, dude? Like, that was great. And of
my
course,
favorite scene is the one coming up after this one.
So I think I know what you're talking about. So the thing's crash landing, and he's like manning the wheel because it's like one of the few things that still functions on the ship, and he can't really get it over because it's like locked over. And Yor and Anya come over to help him, and they get the thing spinning, and Anya's just going around and around the wheel the entire time.
It's a very touching moment where things are like falling on him and he's starting to bleed, and then Yor shows up and grabs it, and then Anya's there, and you're like, oh well, you're probably not going to help too much. But then they finally spin it, and Anya's still holding on, like for no reason. So it just ruins this nice moment.
What's great though is they'll cut to scenes of like Yor and like Lloyd looking very serious and like determined, and then you just got Anya going, whoa, 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 in the corner, and it's like this is why I love this show. And then of course they finally crash land in the river, and they're all just like, "We survived!" And then a gush of water just coats them.
The scene where they're in the water and the all the mist starts coming down and it starts sparkling and everything, that looked amazing in IMAX.
Mm.
It did. That was such an awesome scene, and it's like super heartwarming. And then they just get fucking splashed with water
Again, right away.
All they can do is laugh because it's the funniest thing. And then of course we cut back to where then Lloyd finds the microchip was stuck in her tooth the entire time.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So the shit arc was entirely pointless.
For nothing.
Why not?
But of course, then he's like, I can bring this back and I can stay with my family now.
And she's gonna get a Stella, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Nope, this is a movie. We can't have any continuity. So of course we cut back and it's assumed that she figured out how to cook the meal. And
Yes.
we get a scene of them preparing the meal, and of course Damien has to be a douche nugget and like be all like, "Oh, you don't Mary, what a peasant food," or something like that. And then she makes fun of him or something, or he gets embarrassed about sharing it or something. Or
Oh yeah, she's like, I was gonna give you a piece, and he was like, you were gonna give me a piece? Like he was all like, it was cute.
Yeah. He got angry.
Typical Damien Anya shenanigans.
Aggressive
And then,
flirt, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. And then it cuts to an explosion, and you're like, "Oh no, what happened this time?"
I totally thought it was Anya who just like destroyed the kitchen, so I was a little surprised when it wasn't.
Yeah, where it's like they cut back to like the kitchen. There, it's just Yor and Lloyd hanging out, and then Anya shows up, and Anya's just dejected. He's like, "Oh no, what happened?" And she's like, "Oh, the kitchen exploded, and the headmaster had to leave. The principal had to leave, so we're actually gonna have someone else test our food."
I think it's the vice principal, right?
I
Wasn't it the
think
vice
so.
principal? Yeah.
And he's like, Lloyd's immediately like, he's like, "I know what his favorite food is. I saw it in a newspaper." And they're like, "Let's go on another adventure." And then
but
you get this
the cutest part is like Bond like predicts the future, and it's like a fun, happy vacation.
Yeah, it's just the three of them chilling in the water, and he just all of a sudden blushes and smiles, and then it's like, that was cute. So I have to ask, did you stay for the extra after credit scene?
Of course I did.
Okay. So Alex wanted to go, and I was like, no, we have to know.
Well, it was like midnight at this point, Bill, or like it was like very late, and I was so tired. But anyways,
but unfortunately, Marvel movies have changed the meta now, where every movie has to have an after credit scene.
Damn you, Marvel!
I mean, Anya. Spy Family does this quite often, actually. Like,
true.
A handful of their episodes also have like post credit like extras at the end.
Oh yeah, there's an entire like subplot involving Yor and Yuri that takes place after like the credits to an episode, and you can completely miss that if you hit skip the next episode.
Yeah, because I remember I grabbed my controller and I moved the thing, and on Crunchyroll it's like 2/3 of the way through, and I'm like, what? Why is there so much episode left?
So I think Crunchyroll actually fixed it though, because I remember when I went back and rewatched season 1 after like being like season 2 is really great. I remember that episode, and I remember I hit skip, and then it just skipped me to that part. So it skipped the credits. So I think Crunchyroll might have fixed some of that stuff.
Maybe.
That sounds about right, because they skipped the opening credits with the button too.
Yeah.
And this is one of their like flagships, isn't it? So
it's one of the biggest animes in America right now.
I believe that and Friar End.
Who can't resist that face?
True. But I forgot to mention too, when Lloyd is giving Sylvia or a handler the bottle of wine that contains the microfilm, she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the guy that we were gonna get to replace you, yeah, he got outed as a cheater," and it shows a picture of him with the girl that Frankie was talking to, and it's like, it's like that's a subplot.
Yeah, and then Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie.
Yeah, so the poor after credit scene, poor Frankie. He's in for like Fergus with the fucking cherry liqueur, and he's like, Lloyd, like, wait, what the fuck? He's like, where are you?
You made me
Yeah,
come
because
out.
everyone completely forgot that he told him to show up.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot until that scene. I was like, oh yeah, that was a scene.
It's funny because it slowly pans down and you see his afro first. And as soon as I
Yep.
saw that, I was like, oh no! No!
Frankie.
Not Frankie.
Imagine how different the series would be if he was the wife.
Yeah.
It almost
I'd
happened.
like to see one episode of them just trying it out and then just being like, all right, bad plan.
That's still one of my favorite Anya lines where like Anya's like, I don't want this, mommy. Oh,
He
man.
throws a fit. He gets offended.
Yeah, he does. Also, when Yor rips his robot armor apart, and he's just so upset and horrified because Yor is kind of a freak of nature.
Yes. Isn't
But,
kind of. She just is.
That was a very, very poor summarization because I forget things every time, and the hardest.
Well, and we did only like it's not like we can go and rewatch it right now
True.
legally.
And I can't.
Legally. With
I
your
can't
Anya
wait.
face. Legally. Yeah, and
Yeah,
when I watched it, I didn't know I was gonna be on a show talking about it, so I was just kicking back. I was
Yeah,
enjoying
I
it.
was just enjoying the movie.
True. No, I really did. I really liked the movie though. Like honestly, like this is like I gave it a 9 out of 10. I think on my Annie list.
Hmm.
I thought this was like a perfect film for this series.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. I'm so excited for all my. I have been preaching the gospel of Spy Family since it came out, and all of my friends, a lot of them who only watch like Naruto and Jujutsu Kaisen or whatever it's called, they were very skeptical of it, and then they started watching it, and they're like, "This is actually pretty good," because I think this movie perfectly sums up what Spy Family is as well, because it is just a little bit of everything. Like it's got the cute family moments, it's got the love scenes, it's got the action scenes where there's explosions and stuff. It's got like the slice of life, little like cute moments. It's like a little bit of everything.
That and like the three main characters are just so well developed and like so likable that like you just like it just brings you joy to watch, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the animation was great. I love the soundtrack. We watched the dub. I really enjoyed the dubbing. Like I love the voice cast that they have for this series. I'm assuming the sub was good too.
Yeah, the sub is incredible. All the voice actors are there and everything. I didn't expect anything to go right there. As far as like the new characters, yeah, I think that everyone sounded good. I liked how the evil guy sounded because like the moment you see him, you're like, this guy's a bastard, and then you hear him and you're like, oh, he's for sure a bastard. Like I hate this guy.
Yet he lives, and those two dudes didn't supposedly die. So,
Yeah. Which
oh,
did they
man.
deserve it? I don't know.
Probably
Well,
did.
they did
Well-
try to murder Anya, so
Oh, we forgot to mention one of them was like this weird like ritualist guy, like who always had like all these.
he was really into horoscopes, and he just
Horoscopes,
kept
that's
going
what it
by
was.
the horoscopes, and he was like, "Yeah, but I think that's also like, I don't know if that's bigger in Japan, like following your horoscope and stuff. I don't know if that is.
I think it's a different thing than what we call a horoscope.
Yeah, I think
Like, I think they're
Yeah.
doing something different, but I don't remember what they were calling it. I think it was horoscopes in the dub as well, but
He was literally doing a poop ritual at one point to get Anya to take a shit.
yeah,
like,
it looked like an exorcism.
I think that was what the joke they were going for, to be honest, because Anya's like like squirming around in pain on the bed, and like he's like got his shirt off, and he's doing this weird ritual in the corner, and it's like, what is this movie? It's like, I love it, but what am I watching right now? And then the other guy was like full on gonna cut her open too. Like he was full on committed to it.
I think they rock paper scissored for it, didn't they?
Yeah, I think the implication was like the horoscope guy wouldn't have done it, and the other guy was like full on like he's like, fine, I have to do it.
I'm trying. Was it the horoscope guy that ended up losing?
Yeah, he did, because he was like he was over in the corner like trying not to throw up. We never did get a resolution though on the owner of the the restaurant. He kind of
Yeah.
just disappears.
I kind
He
of wish
lost
they
his plane.
did. Hmm.
Yeah, we stole his big plane that was a big part of his
Yep.
restaurant.
Maybe that's why he was mad about the plane.
Yeah. Actually, I was always wondering, like, did they even go back to like get the Mary from him, or did they just take the ingredients and run?
I feel like it's probably implied that they did,
Yeah.
since
Mm.
that was like the whole point
Mm.
of them going there. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's such a silly movie. I loved it though.
Yeah. It was very
Oh,
cute.
They probably didn't because of Frankie. Frankie showing up and Lloyd was already gone. So I guess they probably left right after that because they
Yeah.
had the mini film or whatever.
True. That's very true. Oh man. I did like how though the movie the way it ends is like they tie up the whole loose end of Lloyd possibly getting taken off the mission, and then they also tie out the loose end of Anya can't get any more Stellas because that would contradict the manga, so they had to write some way to make it so no one gets one.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, the kitchen exploded, so no Stellas for anybody.
which is silly. I was thinking that just some rando was gonna get it. Like no, like because it was hyping up that what's his name, second son was gonna get it probably if it wasn't Anya.
But he gets a bunch in the manga, so it's like they have to like they can't interfere with the manga. So
I wonder
Yeah.
if he'll bring it back though at some point. Like if he'll tie it back into the story. I wonder.
like reference it because
Yeah.
Endo wrote it, so I feel like it's canon enough.
Yeah, or at least like
Um,
the second one, like where they go. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season of the anime though, when that eventually happens, because I've read the manga up to like where it's released in America right now, and there is an arc coming up that is fucking amazing.
I'm so excited, man.
I know. I can't wait. Oh man. But yeah, any other final thoughts on Code White?
It's good and you should go see it.
Is it still in theaters?
Oh.
I think
Might not be.
I think it's got one more week because it got a legit release. It wasn't like one of those Fathom event things.
Yeah. Yeah, you should
Um,
definitely go see this though.
Is anyone else looking forward to that Spy Family video game for the Switch?
I'm getting it, yeah, for sure. Even though it's just like a thing of mini games, isn't it?
It's like Pokemon Snap, but with Anya.
That's all we
There-
need.
There's a scene from because it's already out in Japan. Someone posted a clip from it where it's the three of them in an art gallery, and Anya keeps trying to get Yor to pose for a photo, and you can keep doing like the thing, and Yor will keep trying to pose, and then she'll get embarrassed because no one's taking a photo, and then Lloyd just shakes his head in the corner and like just goes ugh. There's also a great scene where Lloyd and Yor are like flirting, and then you could be Anya in the background being a little shit, ruining the moment.
Accurate.
It's great. I can't wait.
I gotta get that too.
Nice.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, Nave. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this was sweet. I was excited to talk about it because I don't know anyone in my real life that went to go see it, so I just had it all bottled up inside. I can't tell anyone about it, so this felt good, cathartic.
Yay.
It's fun talking about like these movies too, because like it's a series that's really popular in America right now, but I feel like it's still anime. It's still kind of like an anime that isn't mainstream to a degree.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like
It's definitely not like the My Hero and the JJK and
Yeah.
all the other stuff that all my friends are
Demon
generally
Slayer.
watching. Yeah, Demon
Yeah.
Slayer. Bill, did you see my picture on Discord now?
Oh, the girl from Demon Slayer with the monster.
Yeah, with instead of the thing, it's a Monster Energy drink.
Yeah, that was cute.
It's great. Like, I have
so
all this, look at this. For my birthday, Philip got me this last year.
That is perfection.
Yeah,
Anya's
and
That's
this-
wonderful.
For the listener, yeah, it's a notebook it's somebody drew. This is painted on, so this isn't like merch or
Oh
anything.
my god.
Oh, nice.
That's so
But it's
cool.
Anya crying, and like the only reason it's right here is because
it's so
I was
cool.
in
It's Anya crying. Sorry.
she doesn't want to study.
I mean, I get it. I think
also-
we've all been Anya.
I got the most adorable Yor figure recently too.
Oh, is it the one?
It's the
Oh,
one of
you
her
did
playing
finally
tennis.
buy it?
Yeah, the one of her playing tennis.
I feel like the tennis racket should be broken.
Well, no, she didn't break the racket. She murdered the ball.
Oh yeah, remember she cut the ball into pieces.
Oh yeah, the other person broke their racket. Look at this hoodie.
Oh, that's adorable.
Aww.
And it's got Chimera, which no Chimera in the show. I think he popped up for like a second. Mr. Chimera.
Yeah, the Spy Family merch is surprisingly everywhere.
Oh yeah. Anya's a fucking phenomenon.
She is, because she's perfect.
I love all the male cosplayers for Anya. It brings me joy
Yeah.
whenever I see them.
You go to a convention, it's just a bunch of dudes cosplaying as Anya, and it's like, yep.
I saw this video of like there was like 80 Anyas walking through a convention hallway, and like they were just all walking in a straight in a file, like an army. It was great.
I saw a great video. It was a Jack Sparrow cosplayer getting chased by a little girl cosplaying as Anya holding a knife. And it's just Jack Sparrow running away. I know. I think she had his sword and she was chasing him with it. It was great.
Which is something she would do.
Yeah, honestly. So did you want to plug your show, Nave?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm one half of Gaming Together cooperative podcast, where it's a comedy show, and so we really just kind of shoot the shit and we talk about video games sometimes. We had Bill on to talk about RuneScape, and we had Bill on a bunch of times. So he's on a good handful of episodes. Just search Bill GNC.
Just Google Bill. You'll find
Google
them eventually.
That's it.
Just if you want to know the context of the episodes I've been on, just search "Send the Long Furby Below" and you'll find one of the episodes.
Yeah,
it makes sense in context.
Wait, so you can talk about long Furbies, but if I send you them on Instagram, you don't appreciate it?
Trust me, Alex. I did not start that conversation.
I did. He didn't appreciate it when I brought it up either.
No.
Now I know who to send them to. Someone who will appreciate them.
Oh yeah. I enjoy not being able to sleep because I'm paralyzed with fear.
Yes.
Oh, no.
The answer's only yes.
Yeah. And of course we mentioned earlier, but Nave was also on our Uncharted episode and our RuneScape, one of our RuneScape episodes earlier on in this the year. I can't even remember how long ago it's been, because it's been time is a concept.
Yeah, it all blends together, especially when you start looking at your catalog of episodes. And I don't remember half of this. I don't know what we talked about in any of this.
We're about to hit We're about to hit 200.
What happened?
When did that happen?
Yeah,
I think we literally just crossed 150 just now.
It goes quick, and you're just like, when? Like, when was this? I don't remember. But yeah, so once again, guys, thanks for joining us on Gaming. I was about to say Gaming Together.
It's my show now.
Oh no.
Yes. Thanks for joining us on Gaming and Collecting. You can find the Gaming and Collecting podcast on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can also find the episodes on YouTube with video versions occasionally. Hi, guys. And you can also find all of our links at linktree/thebarberwhogames. Or if you'd like, you can join the GNC Podcast Network Discord server to find all things GNC, the 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, talk gaming, anime, general nonsense. Alex posts water bottle propaganda, and we have a really weird obsession with Kermit the Frog over there. I don't know.
It just happened one day.
Yes,
as all obsessions do.
It's like, honestly, like every server on Discord, like in the podcast community, everybody has their one like gimmick per their server, and that just kind of is the thing. And ours is Kermit for whatever reason.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
I'm like looking